Greetings, boils, ghouls, and all of the macabre manner of being. It's your old buddy Oxleymations here again, bringing you yet another video in this extensive little series of mine. And as you could probably guess by what's in front of me, I've decided that for today's topic I would dig back into the old box of yesteryear and exhume a nice little goodie that we could all take a look at together and enjoy. So without further ado, let's get digging. What, pray tell, could this one be? Ooh, we're in for a real treat. Pardon all the crinkling, but that's just what shopping bags do. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, and all other configurations of being, I have for you today the Universal Monsters Burger King toys from 1997. So, as you can see before me, we have 4 different Burger King toys rendered in the likeness of classic Universal monsters. We have the creature from the Black Lagoon, Bela Lugosi's interpretation of Dracula, Boris Karloff's interpretation of Frankenstein, and Lon Chaney's The Wolfman. Some of you may be curious why, of all the characters in cinematic history, Burger King would choose to put out monsters based on properties that were at the time over 60 years old. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. But I am so happy that they made these things. So for the Halloween season in 1997, Burger King released these little monstrosities upon the world. Now, I believe at this point I can put in a piece of advertising showing that these are in fact the only 4 from the set. I'll put that in right here. Now, as you can see from that advertisement, there are a couple things missing from these 2 fellas in the middle. Dracula here was supposed to come with a cape that would plug into that little hole in his back. He also came with a nice little red coffin, similar to the one that he rose out of in the films. Frankenstein here is missing a little table upon which he would lay. I believe there were like little shackles to hold his hands down, and when you would push a little button on the back, there was an LED that would illuminate his head and make him light up, like that one scene in Young Frankenstein. Unfortunately, obviously I'm missing these pieces, but at some point in the future I would love to own them and have these all complete. Now, if you're wondering, as I may have asked before, why the Wolfman is in his little box and he's not out on display, that is because he has an action feature that I wanted to show y'all. So I'm going to move these spooktacular little fiends over to this end of the table and bring the Wolfman to the forefront. As you can see, his coffin, or box, whichever you'd like to call it, is very reminiscent of a pair of cellar doors. Or barn doors, I suppose you would call them. And it has this fancy little handle on the side here. Also, I should mention the back is blank, except for a little square down here with the copyright information. 1997, Burger King, made for Burger King, blah 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 blah. So as I was saying, he has this quaint little action feature, where when you push on this little lever here, or when I flip on this lever, ta-da! The Wolfman has arisen. And there's also this... oops. There's also this itty-bitty little pop-up thing in the back, supposed to represent that there is in fact a full moon, which is the reason why he has come out to kill again. Rah. Now, the figures themselves are somewhat hard to come by. They're not nearly as hard to come by as their accessories and their little coffins. And I should mention at this point that when it comes to the Dracula and the Wolfman, since they both came in a coffin, they both shared basically the same action feature. Dracula would be laying in his coffin, ready, sleeping, ready for the night. And then, when the night would come, you would flip the little handle and he would go from laying down to, alright, I'm awake, blah, 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 blah. Now, another cool thing about Dracula here is, if I remember correctly from those little advertisements, he has a couple of glow-in-the-dark features. And glow-in-the-dark obviously was a thing back in the 90s that was so popular. I believe it's only his fangs that light up, but I could be wrong. Also, one thing I need to spotlight are the molds on those heads. Dracula actually somewhat resembles Bela Lugosi. It's harder to tell with Frankenstein because of the translucent plastic, but he somehow, somewhat resembles Boris Karloff. The Wolfman obviously does a good job of representing Lon Chaney's Wolfman and that wonderful pompadour haircut. And the creature from the Black Lagoon, well, he looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. Also, I love the fact that they molded him in translucent plastic. I'm not sure how well that shows up on camera, considering I'm being lit from the front, but it is fantastic. So, when it comes to all these figures, if I were to give my review on them, I should stop right there because I just remembered another thing I should talk about. Now, another thing that got a little bit of popularity and had a bit of a resurgence in the 90s was a little indie film from the 70s called Star Wars. And each of these figures, well, most of these figures, boasts the same articulation that you have had, or would have had back then. Small little editor's note here. What I intended to say was that these action figures boast the same points of articulation as the original Kenner Star Wars line back in the 70s. Anyway, on with the show. They have the posability in the arms, the turning of the head, and obviously their legs could move up and down, back and forth, so you could make them do the Charleston. Or, more appropriately, is this is Thriller night, and no one's gonna hold you any tighter, no ghoul could ever dare try. Thriller, woohoo! I'm gonna stop right there. So, as you can see, ladies and gents, I thoroughly enjoy these figures, and I'm still so impressed and just surprised that I was able to track down a full set. With all that being said, ladies, gentlemen, ghouls, ghoulies, boils and ghouls, and all other words that I can come up with off the top of my head, I almost forgot one last action feature. With the creature, he kinda has the best action feature of the set. See, you plop him down in water, and you squeeze this little button right here on his abdomen, and he goes, and he squirts water. Or should I say, he spits water at everything. So thank you all so much for coming back to enjoy another one of my ghoulish little videos. I do truly and greatly appreciate it. And with that said, ladies, gentlemen, boils, ghouls, and all other macabre machinations of being, thank you for watching, and always remember, when it comes to brains, when in doubt, throw it out.